All right, so let's talk about a topic here, and I think we've talked about this maybe once before, but I want to come back to it. Been thinking about this here this morning as I'm sitting in Panama, looking out, and it's this whole concept of mine and my, okay, and the reality that mine and my have caused us so many problems. And what we're talking about on a bigger scale is truth and living truth. Okay? Here's what I mean by that. Because that probably sounds a little bit off. Because my mind and truth, how does that all relate? You see, how many times do you defend yourself, your decisions, your thoughts, your actions on a daily basis? Right? There's something that you want, something that, and or something that you know is true for you, but then you have to defend why it's valuable or why it's true. Now, if you just said, hey, I'm cold, well, okay, you're cold, and there is no real defense of that. It's just what it is. You're cold, right? But the moment we say, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a Jew, I'm a Christian, the moment we attach those things and say, I'm a, mine, my, I have, I belong to, the moment we do that, life starts to change. And life starts to change in not a really, really great way, because what ends up happening in those moments is we've got to defend ourselves. We've got to defend ourselves against someone else who says, well, why are you a Christian? Well, Islam is better. Or, why did you vote for this candidate or that candidate? This one is better. And we get in this place where we've got to defend our perspective. We've got to defend the thing that we think, that we believe is true. Well, is that a bad thing? For most of us, we stop and think, no, that's not a bad thing, but it actually is. It actually is, because here's the truth. Here's the truth about truth. Truth does not need to be defended. Truth does not need to be justified. And so if you're finding yourself justifying or defending, what's really going on? So that's what I've been thinking about. I want to share some more with you. And let me just be blunt and upfront, okay? I'm about to share some stuff with you here, and I understand this intellectually. It's really hard to live. Really hard to live. Intellectually, it makes sense though, okay? And so what we're talking about is the reality that the moment that we say my or mine, we start talking about perspective, and we start talking about possessiveness and what belongs to us, right? And when we think of my and mine and as the truth, so I am a this, and that is the truth for me, well, that is your perspective, and that's what it is. But it's when we present that as the truth and it's a perspective, and someone else comes with a different perspective, now the perspectives start to have conflict. And now we have to defend our perspective. But what if it wasn't my perspective, but what if it was a perspective? What if we saw the world as I have an perspective? Yeah, I know that's not good English, okay? This is not grammar class, right? But this perspective is just one perspective. If this perspective is just one perspective and someone else has a different perspective, the two of them can still live in harmony and respect, and most importantly, in love. You see, the challenge is once we get into my and mine and possessiveness, our view of the thing goes from one of this is something I love to this is something I have to defend against loss. And so let me rephrase that. It becomes fear. Our reactions become fearful. Our reality, our responses are ones based on fear. The fear of loss, the fear of shame, the fear of not belonging. And when we exist in that place, it's impossible to also have true love. And so this is what I'm saying. I understand this intellectually. So intellectually, if the perspective is a perspective and you have a different perspective, okay, so if you have that's fine for you to have a different perspective. I have a perspective. And in these different perspectives is the reality that based on everything that I've gone through in the past has caused me to have this perspective right now, which is why you have a different one, which is why yours isn't wrong and mine isn't right. You see, because that's the other thing that's going on here is I'm right and you're wrong. Again, I'm right, you're wrong is based in fear. It's not based in love. It's not based in the fact that this is what I believe in, where I am. This is my truth. That's your truth, and that's okay. So, my question for you is, how do we get there? Like I said, intellectually, this makes sense to me. Living this out on a day-to-day basis, and then when you layer in other things like comparison and stuff, becomes very, very difficult for us as humans. Because naturally, we want to be that possessive. Naturally, we want to say, this is my child, you know, and or this is my religion, or this is my belief, and it's very, very possessive in the moment and the way that we say that. But if that possessiveness is leading us or being fueled by fear, then it's impossible for it to be based in love. And if it's not based in love, how do we get to that place of being and living in that? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Love for you to share. At this moment, I'm going back to enjoying Panama. So, bye.